Hi, I'm Angelica. I have a serious question for most people. Why is it so hard to willingly do? Hearing that question, you may wonder, what does she mean? It's an action most people do just about every day on a minor level, sometimes without even realizing it. I'll let my friend Phoenix explain in more details.
Thank you, Angelica. I got it from here. Angelica asked those two questions. Why is it so hard to do? What does she mean? What she meant was change. Not little changes, big changes. The big changes that make a difference of how the situations in your life are and how they could be. There's two types of changes that mainly make the difference. Self change is one, forced change is the other. Self change is the one you want because self change, you get to say the narrative. You get to say how you want things to be. You get to say when that change mainly will take place, how it will take place, stuff like that. You get to be the one mainly in control. Force change, you don't want the force change. Force change is done by somebody else that benefits for them, but you're the one that's being used to do it. Force change is something to where someone else gets to control the narrative of you. Force change is something that was set up on you, designed against you to put you in the situations that you're in so that it benefits the other person. Don't believe me? You ain't got to believe me. Listen to what this guy has to say on this video that tells you about how things were set up against you that force change. Watch this.
Something called the Tyrone Mays rat experiment. Y'all need to look that up. It's called the Tyrone's Mays rat experiment. It went down in 1940. He ended up getting it from another psychiatrist in 1840. It's called the Tyrone Mays rat experiment. And what they did was they took a few hundred rats, right, and they splitted them and they divided them. And what they did was they created an environment for both of these rats to live in. In one subject, they took about 100 rats and they put it in an environment where it had clean water. They put it in an environment where it had a right amount of space for the rats can, get, basically, if they wanted to be by themselves, they could. They made sure that it was good food in there that didn't have any type of poisons put inside the foods. They even gave them space to breathe, to go upstairs, downstairs. They just gave them this abundant environment, right? They put these rats in there. Mind you, these the same rats with the same genetical molecular structure, which is nothing different. They both came from the same mama, the same daddy, the same family tree, right? So they took these rats, they put one in a good environment, then they put the other 100 rats in a bad environment where they didn't get water. If they did get water, the water actually had acids in it. They made sure they didn't give them the regular food. I think they gave them like cat food or something like that with a bunch of pellets that was inside of them, right? They stuck them on top of each other. And they made sure that the space was very, very small. They never cleaned any poop out of the maze. They pissed out of the maze and they left them in there. They left them in there for 4 months and they watched how their behavior changed. They went back and they got the actual rats that came from the good environment and they put them in the maze. They ended up going through the maze very, very fast. Then they ended up going to get the rats that they put in the bad environment and put them in the maze, and they didn't know how to even make it through the first section of the maze. So he maybe this is a coincidence. So he did it. So what he did was he switched the rats. He took the rats that was smart, that made it through the maze, that was in the good environment, and he put them in the bad environment. Then he took the rats that was in the bad environment, that was dummies that couldn't make it through the maze at all, and he put them in the good environment. He waited 4 months. Then he took them back out. The same rats that was good and smart, that was in a good environment, that he put in a bad environment, now they couldn't make it through the maze. The same rats that was in the bad environments, that was dummies that couldn't make it through the maze, he put them in a good environment. Now they making it through the maze and making it through life just fine. So he said, damn, it ain't the genetics. It ain't who these people is as individuals. It's the community. It's the environment that you put these biological entities in that changes the way they interact with their environment and with themselves. Did you know he did another 6-month experiment on the same rats that he left in the bad environment? Guess what they started doing? Killing each other. Some of the male rats started humping other male rats, homosexuality. Look, the other rats that was at the bottom that didn't have the food, these niggas went upstairs to the other rats and started robbing them for food and water. I said, damn, this sounds like your typical project. Don't this sound like the PJs? This is a real rat experiment. So it made me start questioning. I had to sit back and really rub my legs. You're in a robbing rat. They turned into robbing, homeless. What else was you gonna do? It's a survival. It's a survival mechanism at this point. Now check this out though, goddess. It was a selective group of female rats, and I really want y'all to look this up when y'all get home today. Watch this. It will fuck your mind up. The female rats, they started pampering themselves. They used to let their children just do what the fuck ever. They started pampering themselves. All they was worried about hood rats. Which one of these? See, these was the hood rats. Okay, the hood rats, right, exactly. So the hood rats, let me quote that. The hood rats, all they did was pamper themselves. The only thing that they worried about was their fur. They worried about their weight. They didn't worry about their children anymore. They weren't worried about the mama papa rat. The only thing that they focused on was their actual selves. And then the father rat started going to other different parts of the actual rat experiment cage and started like bullying on the younger children. It was crazy, man. Look, it gets so deep when you really start watching it. It even rapists started happening. Rape. With the older male rats in the community started raping the younger males and the younger female rats. Same thing that happens in the ghetto where a young girl will get touched on by their uncle, or a young male will get touched on by their uncle or their auntie. This happens. So it's like, damn, is this rat experiment that's going on in Tyrone rat maze experiments the same shit that's going on with us in these communities? And then you have to ask yourself, in the projects, right? And who built these communities? We didn't build these communities. We ain't put the liquor stores in these communities. We ain't put dope in her. You got something called Russian AK-47s. Niggas ain't never been to Russia. You got Japanese SKs. We ain't never been to Japan. We got grenades that come from, we got all these different things in the community of America that's outside of America when niggas ain't never left the block. How was they getting there? This shit was set up. So once I realized, like, damn, me and my people is in a rat maze. This is a project. We are being psychologically experimented on. That's when I said, okay, this is my motivation. It's time to break the psychological chains of our people. Yep. So once I fully got myself up out of it, my whole mission is I'm going to die for this shit. Everybody that I come in contact with is going to hear this message. And my message is, wake the fuck up, Black America.
There it is. Told to you right there how things were set up against you, how you didn't even have any idea what was being done to you, and you didn't have no control over the situation you was put in. So things were stacked up against you and set against you for failure from the beginning. But this is the thing, you can change all of it. The forced change happened, but guess what? You still can do the self change. You can change all of that, and you can change it for the better. You might not be able to change it now, but you're working on it. And the thing is, when you get to that point, you got to take the opportunity. I understand it's not the easiest thing to do sometimes. You may be having it to where someone that you grew up with or you got family around you where you're at and you're used to being around them. But the thing is, you can always change that environment, change everything. They can come see you. You can come visit them again more. But change your situation. Change it as soon as you get the chance to. Because that video just showed you how you're trapped into something that you had nothing to do with putting yourself in that situation up. For most of us. You can change that. It's up to you. Fight against it. Because they counting on the fact that when they put you in this situation, you're not gonna want to fight to change and get out of it. You'll get accustomed to it. You'll get so used to it, you'll stay in that situation. Change that. Change that. You got everything in you to do it and change it. If somebody around you is trying to tell you differently of not doing that change, you don't need that. That's negativity you don't need. Change it. Get away from that. Don't even dwell on thinking about it. No, because that's just as bad as the situation you were put in by somebody else anyway. Change it. But you have those ones that'll be like, hey, you got the opportunity to do this now where I don't. Do it. They're telling you this for a reason because they want to see things better for you. Because Maybe if you do it, you could be that one that really pushes and inspires them to finally do it. If they telling you to do it and you don't do it, that ain't gonna give too much confidence to them to want to do it. And if they do it and then they see you don't want to do it, guess what? Down the line, they thinking, I don't know. This person is a little too scary to do things, and I've changed, and I'm like this. So you could be that person that'd be like, okay, let me change and follow what they saying on and change, and then next thing you know, they come behind you because of you did it. You're gonna feel so much better. You're gonna feel so much relieved. You're gonna really like the fact that you got that new start and that you're doing it on your own way. You're doing it your way, your own narrative way of doing it. Make the changes. Don't be afraid. Don't let a system like what was said in that video keep you in your situations. Change them. Go ahead and do it.
After hearing this, would you really prefer the forced change? I don't think you do. Just because some others set up your adult life to start off bad, then go forward bad doesn't mean it has to stay bad. Remember, it's not mainly how you started out, but how you end up at the finish.